Welcome to the Speech Sounds for Kids tutorial. I'll step you through the features of this app, which is available through the iTunes App Store. There's a North American and an Australian version, and I'm going to use the Australian version today.
Speech Sounds for Kids.
There's a lot in this app, so it's a bit of a long clip. First of all, when opening the app, you'll be directed to the student selection page. I've already included quite a few kids' names here that I've been working with. You can include up to 9 kids' names at a time. I want to add another child, so I press the Add Student button, and I must enter a first name. So this one's name is Luke, and a last name, I can just put an initial, and if later I want to send the results to a therapist, I can write a name here, and I must enter the therapist's email. This section is optional. Press OK. Alright, so here I can see Luke L. Luke L is a child who is working on the sounds k and g. At the moment, he's producing d and t instead, and this is called velar fronting. So here I've got the sound selection page. There are 22 consonant sounds here, represented by these cute little characters called sound buddies. This makes it really fun for young kids to explore and learn about sounds. At the same time, you'll see that the sound buddies have letters on them, so they can start to learn letter links too, which is great for early literacy. But Luke needs to learn about k, kara kookaburra, and g, gulping Gary. And we also want to contrast them with the sounds that Luke is using in their place. So he's saying things like ta for car. So I need to also select t, tapping Tessa. And he's saying things like do for go. So I'm also going to select d, Dave Drummer. Within the sound selection page, I can choose up to 4 sounds at a time to study and to contrast. I could just select 2 if I needed to. Okay, so they've been highlighted in blue, and I press go, and this will put my sound buddies in the sound train. Here we go. All right, there's my sound train. Harry, k, kara kookaburra, t, tapping Tessa. Now, Luke can say d just fine, but at the same time, I really need to explore this sound because he needs to know what this picture, this sound buddy represents, but he also needs to contrast the d sound to the g sound so he understands why they're different. So really, I do need to study each sound individually to begin. So we could start with Dave Drummer, which is an easy sound for him to say, or we could start with tapping Tessa because he can say that one as well. But just say he's already studied those within this app, and I'll go on to study gulping Gary. So I press the sound buddy gulping Gary that I'd like to study, then I press go, and off we go. We're in my sound activities now, and we're just using one sound, gulping Gary, g. First of all, I have to learn the sound. This is so this child knows the sound inside out, back to front, and we teach this using multi-sensory cues. Have a look. Learn the sound. Down the bottom, we've got a mouth, g, and we can see the child saying g, g. So this is all about the articulation of that sound. We've also got what's called a sound story. Let's click on this one. When gulping Gary drinks, he tips his head back and lifts up the back of his tongue. He makes a loud sound. Gulping Gary says, g. Okay, so that little story teaches the kids about some features of that sound, that it's a loud sound. It encourages them to tip their head back, which sometimes helps elicit that sound. It talks about the tongue position. And it also gives a bit of a meaning link. So it's a sound that's sort of a bit like gulping, g, g, g. This one here is called the hand sound, and it's a gesture. G. G. We encourage kids to learn and use these hand sounds when they're making the sound. Now the reason is because for some kids it helps the correct sound pop out. It helps them access that sound that they've learnt. And later on, when they're trying to say a word like go, for example, if they've practiced g, g with the hand sound, they can then elicit that sound within the word, go. It's just a really nice way to help with transfer.
Good.
So this hand sound helps the therapist or the parent also remember what the hand sound is, and it's a good one for the child to copy. This one here, the ear icon,
G,
just encourages the child to listen to that sound.
G, G,
Okay, and this one, the mic, the microphone, press it when it flashes, g. It flashes, g. Oh, well, you meant to just hear the sound. Let's try again. Wait till it flashes. G. G. It's nice feedback, isn't it? So, for example, if young Luke was to say d, d, I could say, oh, that doesn't sound quite like Gulping Gary's sound. Let's go back and have a listen and a look at what his sound is again.
G.
Okay, so learn that sound, play around with the sound, and then press forward. And here we go on to the next sound activity, just for Gulping Gary. On lots of the activities, you'll see timers right down the bottom. There's a 2, 3, and a 5 timer. Now this just means if you want the activity to play automatically at 2, 3, or 5 second intervals, you'll choose the corresponding timer. I'm going to choose 2. So every 2 seconds, I'm going to hear a sound. And this is the listen for the sound activity. It's really tuning the kids' ears into listening just for the target sound. So to start, I press the ear, and every 2 seconds, I'll hear a sound. If I hear Gulping Gary's sound, I'll press his picture.
D, G,
Great listening.
G,
Fantastic.
D,
Keep trying. Oops.
D,
No. And only the sounds in the sound train are being used here. So it's really training
Great.
the kids' ears to be very specific in their listening and to discriminate between the sounds in the sound train. Okay, next activity will be copy the sound. So I hear the sound, and if I've missed it, which I just did,
G,
I can press it again. I press the microphone, G.
G,
It will automatically play back, and the adult or the child can try and judge the correctness of that sound. But it's a good idea that this is done in conjunction with an adult. So I'm going to say yes. Okay, and I'll try again.
G,
D. D. That time Luke didn't do it so well, so he gets a cross, which most kids actually don't mind if it's done in a fun way, and a star won't highlight. If I also want to record that particular sound, I can then press this, and an audio recording of the last production will be sent to the My Statistics page, and we'll talk about that later on. Okay, so again, let's
G,
G. G. Okay, we'll try it again.
G,
D. D. At this point, I might say to the child, hey, do you remember the hand sound? Try and do that when you say the sound.
Good.
And you can see all the little cues are still down the side. You might even say to the child, remember how to make that sound? Have a look.
G,
Okay, we might then try again. G. G. Oh, and I might say, good on you, Luke. I might record that one, and I might also write a written note that using the hand sound, or spelling would be good, hand sound helped. Okay. Now, if I have pressed this or this, the exact notes will go to the My Statistics page. Otherwise, just the number of correct or incorrect responses as judged by the adult will also be recorded on the My Statistics page automatically. We could go on and we could then do say the sound, which is exactly the same.
Says.
Only there's no sound to copy and there are no cues down the side. So by this time, we're really expecting kids to be able to say that sound without too many cues. They might still self-cue using the hand sound that they've learnt, g.
G.
Okay. Now, within this, you don't have to be judging correct, incorrect. You can just do multiple copies. But the important thing is, if you are recording, you must wait for the playback to occur before you press the record again or before you go on to another activity. Okay, so if you've used the microphone, just make sure you wait until that playback occurs. Let's keep going. At this point, I've done all the sound activities for Gulping Gary. I can now go back to my sounds and study another sound to this point, or, hang on a sec, I was at the end of here, so I could go on to doing the word activities relating to Gulping Gary. Okay, so really be directed by your therapist. There's no correct way, but let's go on and do word activities for Gulping Well done, Gary. You've made it to the end of clip 1, but there is so much on this app that it takes 3 clips to get through it all. You'll learn about how to choose more sounds, use sounds in words, compare sounds, and also compare sounds in words. It's really important for clear speech production for kids with speech disorders and for early literacy development. Off to clip 2 now.